So I'm here to talk to you about a tool in your toolbox rather than an entire approach. My name is Niki. I'm here from the slightly nebulously named Government Partnerships International. We're a cross-cutting government unit funded by DFID and CSSF, working in the government space in complex environments. And I'm here to talk to you about contribution courts, a participatory approach to developing and validating programme contribution narratives. Those of you who've read the abstract or are just paying attention to this slide will notice there's another name on this. Normally this session is a double act where my colleague and I do a live demonstration of how the mechanism works. We found out a few days ago that he actually can't be here, so I've done a one-woman revision of this to do this by myself with audience participation, which will fill you with excitement or dread, probably correlating to your feelings of pantomime, so bear with me. What is a contribution court? Well, the mouthful of the first slide was done on purpose. The field of monitoring and evaluation really runs the risk of being plagued by jargon and technical terminology that is really alienating to your programme teams. Even the phrase contribution analysis probably doesn't fill your programme teams with excitement and fascination. And it's seen as this abstract thing that happens over there somewhere by a very nerdy ME practitioner in isolation. And to be honest, they're not completely wrong. And Mark and I have been thinking about this a lot and started looking at other professions that are really accessible, that people are familiar with, and that might be televised, and processes that they are used to seeing. And for some reason, there's no TV series on the trials and tribulations of being an M&E advisor, as thrilling as our lives are. But everyone is familiar with the legal profession in some capacity, and some of the processes that it goes through are incredibly participatory and accessible, like a court, where you present a story backed up by evidence that is then interrogated, and a group of people who have watched this interaction then determine whether they feel it holds or not. And that, in effect, is what a contribution court is. A defendant presents their story of change or case study backed by evidence, which is gently interrogated to see whether the evidence holds, whether the contribution arguments are there, maybe there are more causal links than we realised. And then the jury who've watched this then determine whether the proof of evidence is sufficient and whether there is a contribution argument there or not. And we found this to be a really powerful mechanism, both in terms of horizontal participation and vertical. On one of my programs, I did the SRO, sitting on the jury. And the easiest way to really show why that's valuable is just to run through an example. So I'm going to be using an example from the Empowerment, Voice and Accountability for Better Health and Nutrition program. It's a DFID-funded program. It's just finished in March of this year. And it was implemented by Palladium, the company at which Mark and I both used to work, with the Centre for Communication Programs Pakistan. And this Voice and Accountability programme aims to empower, organise and facilitate citizens to hold their local governments to account for better health services. And the modus operandi of EVA was that it provided an enabling environment, not just capacity building. It helped facilitate partnerships and connections that may not have arisen otherwise, to really allow this collective organisation for the local citizens to raise their voices meaningfully. So with this as a backdrop, I'm going to take the role of the defendant, and I'm going to present to you a story of change as backed up by evidence and try to make some contribution claims. You will then cross-examine me as the prosecutors. And I'll give you a couple of examples of the kinds of questions that we have asked in previous contribution courts. And then you're going to magically transform into the jury, and you're going to vote on the degree of proof of evidence you feel there was and the degree of contribution you feel exists. So without further ado, this court is in session. So our story starts with Mr. Iqbal, right here. And it's a really sad start to this story, because he and his wife had a son. He went to the local health service to try and get a vaccination and was denied. We don't have direct proof for this, but we strongly believe it's because he was a religious minority that he was not able to receive this vaccine, and his son died. It was really sad. So Mr. Iqbal and his wife, they had another son, and he went to get a vaccine for his infant son and was denied a second time. But this time something was different. Mr. Iqbal was a member of an EVA-supported community group. And before I fully go into the story, I'll just establish a few more characters. So we have the community group, which is headed by Mr. Ullah and supported by the EVA program. We have the local media, we have the local government, and the local health practitioner who denied the vaccine. You probably noticed the design of these characters, and this is, just as a disclaimer, the program is underpinned by Andrew Collaros' activist change framework, using the COMBI model of behaviour change, which roughly states, for those unfamiliar, I doubt most people are, but the idea is to change behaviours of an actor and actor in the system. You change an aspect of their capabilities or opportunities or motivation, and then you can trace how that ripples behaviour change through the system. So, as said, Mr. Iqbal was a member of this community group headed up by Mr. Ullah, who I'll talk about in a little bit. But here is proof that he attends the training with the core members, and that is his name right there. And this group was headed up by this wonderful man, Mr. Ullah, which Eva had worked with the community group to collectively identify as their leader, because he was not only a medical practitioner, but also incredibly well connected. He was a journalist for the local media. And they worked with him to capacity build him to really ascertain exactly how we can be empowering citizens and collectively raising their voice. And here is him attending the training. You can see I'm too short, but he is a member of the Dawn Media. And here he is at a capacity building workshop. And here he is again at another one. So Eva had worked with him to really utilise all of his connections and his expertise and build his capacity. So Mr. Iqbal attended a community group meeting and told them his story, and rightly they were mortified. And he was informed that he had a legal right to that vaccine. He was denied a right that he had. And the community group decided to take it on as one of their causes. So they gave him knowledge he didn't have before, and they provided the structure where they would collectively raise their voice to put pressure on the local government. And here he is, signing into a community group meeting. Here's a quote from him saying that he didn't know about this before. And then even more evidence, this is the community group meeting on that date that he talked about his story. And here is a list of things that they were going to take up as a community group to pressure on the local government about. So what they did is they supported him to write a letter to the local government. And this is signed off by Mr. Iqbal and the community group saying he's been denied a basic right and this shouldn't happen in our province. Nothing happened. It wasn't enough pressure. So what would normally happen is these issues would be taken to a district meeting. The problem is that these happened every couple of months. One had just happened and an infant's health was at risk, and the community group felt that they really couldn't wait for the next district meeting. So, as I said, Mr. Ullah is incredibly well connected, and they tried a different route, using the media. They staged a protest and got media coverage, and here is Mr. Iqbal, and this is one of the community group protesting outside the local government, saying that it is absolutely unacceptable that people's basic health rights are not being met. And this caused quite a stir, and this is actually also covered by Mr. Ullah's newspaper, the Dawn Media. We just don't have a copy of it. But this was enough to move the government to put pressure on the local health provider, and they actually issued an order, which we have copied, saying that people should be receiving their basic health rights, and this is absolutely unacceptable. This was enough to motivate the local health provider into actually acting, and Mr. Iqbal went back to get his vaccine. And here's the receipt stating that he actually got the vaccine for his son, and here is Baby Ahmed, who has been happily vaccinated. This is my story. You can see how the story progressed from Mr. Iqbal becoming a member of his community group to having this fantastic result for citizens in his province. So now we move on to the cross-examination. It's all very well hearing that, but does it help? The kinds of questions you might want to ask could be about the evidence, such as did that newspaper article really happen before the order? It takes time to publish things. If it didn't, maybe Mr. Ullah's connections don't matter as much, it was just the protest that moved them. Or you could question Eve's involvement in the protests, sometimes in voice and accountability programmes. Staff can get over-involved and nudge things along that wouldn't have happened naturally in quite a negative way. These are the kinds of things that we've asked previously. Who would like to cross-examine me? Who wants to poke a hole in my story?
Just a question about if there were any other donor programs going on at the time, or any maybe targeting somewhere differently, like targeting maybe at the higher governmental level to motivate government to in a top-down way, whereas EVA sounds like it was bottom-up.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So this is where my vulnerability shows slightly, because this is actually Mark's program, not mine, but I was aware of enough of the context. So in this province, no, but I do believe there were other, broad, like you said, higher governmental programs that might have nudged things along, but probably not in this specific case. Yes?
Was there any evidence that this man was specifically singled out to have his child not vaccinated, or were there any other issues explored around, for example, stockouts of vaccines, lack of staff, and so did anybody discuss the reasons for non-vaccination with the health authority?
So from what I understand, other people within the same time frame actually in the community group had received a vaccine, so there was a discriminatory aspect to this denial, which is why the protest got such traction. Yes?
But were there any other community members who also didn't receive the vaccine who were of the same ethnic groups?
I don't know, I'm sorry. But if this was a real contribution, that's an excellent question to ask, absolutely. Anyone else want to cross-examine? Yes.
Were there any other changes to the funding or strategy of the health providers before the order was issued?
No, from what we understand, they were fairly stable. They had their routine system set up with their local providers. One last one, yes.
You've amassed an impressive amount of evidence, presumably not without a little bit of help from people who have a very strong vested interest in demonstrating successful examples.
Yes, absolutely. And this program is lucky. They had a fantastic M&E officer who spent a lot of time really explaining the value of evidence. And naturally, of course, you want to demonstrate success. It is quite hard to forge a direct order from the local government. But I do take your point that sometimes you can over-evidence things rather than considering them as well. But this gives a flavour of the kind of engagement you can have, and often you find you pull out far more contribution than you realised you would. That story is the result of a contribution court. We pulled out more causal connections than the participants actually expected us to, and we found it to be really valuable. And this is when you go into the jury verdict. So I'm just going to ask the audience, normally we have a really fancy Mentimeter slide, but Mark's not here and neither is his laptop, and I have a government laptop which doesn't like it. So we're going to go for a show of hands and accept that binary measurement is terrible. So with a show of hands, who feels the degree of proof I provided was sufficient to believe this actually happened? Okay, fab. And then, obviously, contributions on a sliding scale from evil is one for the ride to this couldn't have possibly happened without either. But who feels that the contribution of Eva to the enabling environment was sufficient, acceptable? Kind of mixed bag on that, which is fine because these kinds of programs are nebulous and I haven't had enough time to truly engage in and draw it out, but I hope it shows you somewhat of a value of the mechanism. And you might be wondering, like, why on earth use it? It just seems like a gimmick that's fun. But actually we've seen a lot of sort of softer as well as sort of harder benefits of this. And it gives a really intuitive understanding of proof and evidence. And program teams go, oh, that's why you take all those pictures, or oh, that's why you're making the evidence box. I see how this fits into the bigger picture. And you get this real sense of enemy ownership, of membership, of the teams being really involved and seeing the snowball effects. Because when you're in the thick of it day to day, you don't always get why you have this M&E person running around being incredibly annoying. And it really involves them in it, and then the sense of pride that we found emerging from this process has been a really nice benefit. Equally, we found it really does tease out contribution claims that you may not have necessarily realised were there, because again, with these intangible programs, it can be really hard to just know absolutely everything that's happening. But by having a participatory conversational approach with somebody who's in the thick of it, you get more out of it. And finally, if you find actually the story's a bit naff, or there's no real contribution claim, maybe there is another donor operating that you hadn't thought about, or anything along those lines, it's a great learning exercise. Why did this go wrong, or why did it not happen the way we expected it to? It's a learning exercise, as I said, you can do horizontally as well as vertically. I would also say this is a tool in the toolbox, it's not the entirety of a contribution analysis, but we found it to be really valuable. Thanks. Any questions?